I know you were connected with Kelly prior to that. What was your first introduction to Kelly?
It's actually at, PD Johnson and Jack Johnson's parents' house. My dad was friends with their dad.
No way.
And
As
so
like
we
a
yeah,
lifeguard?
Petey was lifeguarding at the time. Yeah, he actually my first Catalina, Petey, I got to know him then in '92. He was at USC and he stayed out in California and raced the Catalina, and got 3rd. And so we became friends then, and so I went to the North Shore and visited them at their house. And Kelly was I think he was staying in Jack's room at the time. He had just won his 4th world title. I think I first went out there and met him around 95 or 6. And, it was casual. We were just sitting on the porch watching the waves. Um, but yeah, that was the first time I met Kelly. I think that was the first time I met him was at their house. Just, we'd do dishes together and clean up. The Johnsons were like, they kept the community of all these surfers. They had a a wall with all everyone's height on it, and it was
Really?
just every surfer, like you'd seen in the magazines was on that wall. It was amazing. So it was really
That's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah.
What a relic. I wonder if it's still there.
I know. I bet it is. Patty's still in the house, so
Good. Yeah, you can never
yeah.
get rid of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know what the best question to ask here is, but I'd just be curious to hear you talk about the process of working with Kelly. I seems to me he's the most astute professional surfer we've ever known in regard to board design. Um, Mainly because he's so engaged in the process, but he's also been that level of engagement for longer than anybody else times
Yeah,
2 probably,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then of course all the success that he's had through that relationship of surfing with the boards that he's
Mhm,
helping design.
mhm.
So, does any of that or does all of that pay dividends in feedback that is returned to you when you're working with him?
Yeah, and I would say on all of what you just said, he also wants to hear what you think. He goes, "Well, but what do you think?" Like I made him a couple of S bosses and a couple FRKs. He goes, "Well, what did you think of your board?" And one time I hadn't made I'm much taller, and so the rocker situation I'm not much taller, but I'm in that next per height up, and and I've learned working with him and making boards that I make for him work for me and guys my size. There's quite a bit of change that needs to go on. You can't rely on scaling on the computer. So he's always asking that, and you're spot on. Like he's talked a lot about in his interviews about how he dream up of where he would want to be on a wave and doing what turn and how do I get the board to fit there and all those kinds of really fine detail. And he has a really good imagination on what he thinks the board needs to have in order to get there as a creative surfer. Not only that, but he'll also listen to Al or, whatever shaper he's working with and me at the time. When I feel he'll 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 go, but what do you think too? It's collaborative. It's not like, hey, I'm Kelly and I know everything, so I got it. Just do this. It's not like that at all. He's very, very receptive to alternative ideas, as his work with Tomo would show. He's got those all kinds of so the sci-fi, the channel bottoms, and different things like that. He's very open minded and gracious with his time when he's meeting with shapers. It seems like, and sure was with me. I very grateful for that feedback. So the dividends is a lot. And just as a person, I feel like, yeah, he's just a very, he's an old soul in a lot of ways. And he's just also a crazy Grom who's super competitive. It's a dynamic person.